Last night, the Toronto Raptors pulled off another huge victory against the Philadelphia 76ers, largely in part to keeping MVP candidate Joel Embiid to just 6 for 20 shooting from the field. So in today's video, I'm going to reveal to you why Joel Embiid continues to struggle against the Raptors and what we do to make it happen. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? It's Jacob here, back with Amateur Hour Sports for another Toronto Raptors YouTube video where we do 3 or 4 of these every single week. So if you want the greatest coverage and analysis on the Toronto Raptors latest news, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're on a road to 9,000 subscribers and you can help us get there. And as always, if you find yourself enjoying the video along the way, make sure to drop a like. Goes a long way to supporting the channel, helping us find some new viewers. But let's get into our video topic for today. Joel Embiid continues to struggle against the Toronto Raptors. I would say historically, or more so in the last 4 seasons, there's no secret, Joel Embiid has struggled against the Raptors. This goes beyond the playoffs. I'm only counting regular season games here because, we can talk about playoffs, but we can sum it up pretty much with this. So we're going to stick to the regular season games. And obviously, along the way, there are going to be some really good performances from Joel Embiid. But typically, Joel Embiid does struggle against the Toronto Raptors. So first of all, we're going to go into what the Raptors throw at Embiid to force these sort of struggles. We're going to talk about, secondly, the stats that prove Joel Embiid struggles against the Raptors. And third of all, we're going to discuss why it is so effective, because you're going to see it definitely is. So first of all, what do we throw at Joel Embiid to make this work? So over the last 4 seasons, it's been quite a bit of time here. Joel Embiid has had some very good seasons and some great seasons as well. Like, he has been exceptional over these last 4 years for the Philadelphia 76ers. I think it was a great decision to finally commit to him as the centerpiece kind of going forward for the team. And we're seeing it right now. MVP candidate. And going up against Embiid last night, the Toronto Raptors and fans in general like myself were a little bit worried. We got to play against Joel Embiid, and we do not have a true center on our roster. Nurse has been flip-flopping the center in our starting 5 being Khem Birch and Achiuwa, depending on the matchup necessary. So going up against Nikola Jokic and LeBron James, Nick Nurse actually favored Achiuwa, but in other games, he has favored Khem Birch. So in this one, I was kind of curious to see what he would use, and he decided, well, to use both of them from the start. But Achiuwa got the bulk of the minutes, and he got the bulk of the assignment defending Joel Embiid. Now, I think Achiuwa is a great defender, but undersized for the position, I was kind of worried what would happen. And in the end, Nick Nurse stuck to his guns. Nick Nurse is a guy that is not going to let the opposition star beat them. And the Raptors definitely showcased that. They put a huge focus on defending James Harden as well as Joel Embiid. And they kept the 76ers, who could be considered the best team in the Eastern Conference, to just 88 points. They held Harden to a not so great shooting night. And again, they held Joel Embiid to 6 for 20 from the field. They hounded Joel Embiid everywhere. They really made it difficult for Joel Embiid to get on the inside. And sure, Joel Embiid put up 21 points, but it was largely inefficient and they limited what he could do. Joel Embiid is a good floor spacer as a big, but he did not hit a single 3 against the Raptors yesterday. They were focused on him. As soon as Joel Embiid entered the Scotiabank Arena, Nick Nurse and the Raptors defense had eyes on him at all times. They did not let him go anywhere. This is typical of the Raptors over the last couple of seasons. And even before that, we had Joel Embiid's father on our team in Marc Gasol, who was just fantastic against him. We can talk about the playoffs where, Joel Embiid wasn't 100% healthy, but without Marc Gasol in that series against the 76ers, we do not come away with the win. He was spectacular on defense against Embiid there. And the stats over the last few years are definitive proof of why I'm saying Joel Embiid struggles. Joel Embiid as a whole over the last 4 seasons, this is his best one yet, but over the last 4 seasons, he averages over 27 points per game with field goal percentage of just under 50 at 49% and a 3-point percentage just under 34%. Like, Joel Embiid can shoot. He can get his on the interior. He's one of the most skillful 7-footers the NBA and the game of basketball has ever seen. But How does that compare to what he does against the Raptors? Well, in his last 12 games against the Raptors, which is over that 4-year span, the same amount of time frame, he averages 21 points per game, so quite a bit less on only 40% shooting from the field. Again, quite a bit less, and only 30% shooting from three, which is, a little bit less, but something that is of note. His stats drop off when he faces the Toronto Raptors. Interestingly, his rebounds do go up. I would say that's largely in part to the undersized team we've had in the last couple of seasons, but those stats are significant. That is a significant drop-off, and that is a decent enough sample size of 12 games against Joel Embiid in the regular season over the last 4 years. The 76ers in this same time frame have played 14 games against the Raptors, where Joel Embiid missed 2 of those games, and in that frame, they are 5-9 against the Raptors. So even though the Sixers were way better than us last season and have been better than us this season, we continue to operate quite well against the Sixers as it comes to our record because of our ability to limit what Joel Embiid does, what Joel Embiid produces. And sure, the Sixers, they have won 5 games in that span, and some of those games were Joel Embiid just going off. Some of those games, though, he really isn't. Maybe the part of the reason why he does have such a significant stat drop-off against the Raptors is because there are some big duds in there. I mean, there is the famous goose egg performance against the Raptors. Yes, 0 points against the Raptors, which prompted an absolute rant from Stephen A. Smith.
What the hell was that? 32 minutes and 0 points? 0? What the hell was that?
And there's also a 5-point performance against the Raptors. And sure, in a sample size of only 12 games, that can skew it a lot. But the fact of the matter is those games are in there. And there's other performances where he has struggled. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Joel Embiid. Again, this is like an MVP candidate. He may go on and win the award. And the Raptors play Joel Embiid in the playoffs. He's going to be a problem over a 7-game series. There is no doubt about that. But the stats showcase this, and the Raptors deployed something very well against him yesterday to force up this less than stellar performance, let's say. So why does it work? The third thing we need to cover, because, we've seen the stats, we've seen what the Raptors throw at him. Why does it work? Because, you think Joel Embiid, he's so skillful. He can operate in mid-range. He can operate from the 3-point line. He can operate on the inside. And yesterday against the Raptors, he was putting up some good points in the first quarter. The Sixers scored 37 points in the first quarter, yet for the rest of the game, at the end of the game, they only had 88 points. In the second and third quarter combined, they also had 37 points. So the Raptors figured it out, but it's not really figuring it out. They use the same thing all throughout the game, but constant barrages of players thrown at Joel Embiid, constant doubling Joel Embiid in the post, constantly being in his face no matter where he is on the court when the Sixers are on offense. It wears down a player of Joel Embiid's size. Conditioning can't be the greatest for somebody who is just of that size. Now, I'm not disputing he's a great player, great conditioning. He can operate for like most of a game. But when the Raptors are constantly wearing him down every time he's getting on the inside, they put the body on him. They just make it that much more difficult for him to get any points. Anytime Joel Embiid is going to get any points against the Raptors, he has to put every ounce of work into getting it. The Raptors force him into putting in so much work to get the points that are usually just natural and in rhythm on any other night. And based off this, despite the good first quarter, his shots started to tail off. He wasn't hitting the mid-range shots that he would normally hit. He wasn't hitting the 3-point shots that he would normally hit. And it's because the Raptors just constantly wore him down. And as the game progressed, you noticed Joel Embiid just maybe a little bit more lethargic and just, again, not hitting the shots that you would normally expect him to hit. And Nick Nurse said before the game, they are going to throw everything at the Sixers. They are going to test out a lot of things, and a lot of those things that they tested definitely worked out. And the proof is in the win. The proof is in keeping the Sixers to 88 points. Now, this wasn't exactly a perfect performance from the Raptors. Defensively, fantastic. Offensively, we only scored 93 points, and that is an area of concern. But the Raptors won this game with their defense. Achiuwa took the bulk of the work defending Embiid, but a lot of doubles came from Scotty Barnes, from Siakam, from Chris Boucher, who was immense on defense for the Raptors yesterday. And this is just further proof that the Raptors on any given night can throw hands with any team in the NBA. If there's any team I would say I don't want to play in the playoffs, it's the Philadelphia 76ers, largely in part to having to defend Joel Embiid over a possible 7-game series when, again, we don't have really the size to combat him every game, and going up against James Harden. It's going to be a frustrating series to play against them, but we showcased this season. I mean, we've played 3 games against the Sixers. We have 2 wins, and in the loss, we only lost by 5, and we were toe-to-toe with them throughout the entire game. But this is further proof. We can keep up with any team in the NBA. It's just limiting the amount of rough nights like the one against the Lakers that we have. We usually play up to the level of our opponent. So in the playoffs, I'm hoping that reigns true because you're only playing against good opponents like possibly the 76ers. It was an outstanding defensive effort from the Raptors, outstanding coaching from Nick Nurse. It completely worked, and we have continuously worked against Joel Embiid, who continues to struggle against the Raptors. So what do you guys make of Joel Embiid's stats against the Raptors? Is it kind of unfair criticism, or am I right? Does Joel Embiid have a knack for struggling against his team? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that is it for me for today. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. Please, if you did enjoy, hit that like button. It goes a long way to supporting the brand, supporting the channel, help us reach some new viewers, and make sure you are subscribed for the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news. We have 3 big things coming up in the next couple of weeks that I'm so excited to share with you guys, so make sure you're sticking with me. We got some big things coming very, very soon. I'll see you again next time for another video.